Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the November 1st, 2017 meeting of the Thousand Oaks Council on Aging. I now call the meeting to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And Analyst Spriga, would you please take the roll?
Please say here at present when I call your name. Vice Chair Allen is absent. Commissioner Fotheringham?
Here.
Commissioner Getz?
Present.
Chair Gorbach?
Here.
Commissioner Hagee is absent. Commissioner Maria is absent. Commissioner Mortimer?
Here.
And Commissioner Posta?
Here.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you very much. And now is the time of the meeting when we call for public comments. We're always really happy when the public comes to speak with us. And I'd like to call Dr. David Deal to the podium, please.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm Dr. David Deal. I'm a wellness chiropractor and nutritionist. And one of the ways that our office gives back to the community is we have a free community workshop to help people get healthy. And what I mean by health is we have to understand what health is. Health is not being sick. It's being the best you can be mentally, physically, and socially. And so we want to give people tips and ways to do that. And we have a workshop this Saturday that everyone's welcome to. It's 10:30 at my office, and it's called Gut Check. A lot of people have IBS or bloating or stomach problems, or leaky gut syndrome is really big now because of our diets in the United States. And so people are struggling with those types of symptoms. And a lot of people don't realize that you could have stomach aches or stomach problems or bloating, but also 80% of your immune system is in your gut. Did you know that? So you could have chronic sicknesses by having a gut problem. The other thing is your brain chemicals are also made in your gut. Your dopamine and serotonin are made in the gut and then transferred to the brain. So if that's off, if your gut's off, you can have depression, anxiety, and a lack of sleep. So we want to help people not just mask those symptoms and cover up those symptoms, but actually correct the cause of the problem. So we're gonna educate people on what they're doing wrong and what they can do right and how to repair the gut so they can function better socially, mentally, and physically. So if anyone would like any more information, we have note cards here, but they can call 805-496-1000, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Dr. Deal, thank you very much. I'd like to call now on Commissioner Posta, who is going to deliver the agency reports for the Kanejo Senior Volunteer Program, as well as for the Global Adult Community Center. Commissioner Posta.
Thank you. Patty Ham, our director of the Global Adult Community Center, was unexpectedly couldn't be here today, so I'll present her report of the future wonderful activities coming up at the Global Center. There's a Csvp Boutique annual holiday sale. It begins November 6th, Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock to 4 p.m. Visit the boutique this holiday season to find a multitude of gifts, holiday items, beautiful handmade specialty articles, and of course our 50-cent greeting cards. Hard to beat. Next on Saturday, November 11th at 9 o'clock in the morning, we have our annual Veterans Day breakfast and USO show. In honor of our senior veterans, the Global Center is celebrating Veterans Day with a free breakfast and a USO show. It's going to be great. Entertainment includes unforgettable big band singer Sienna Avala, Razzmatappers, Andrew Sisters Trio, Abbott and Costella's Who's On First, and our wonderful MC, which all of you may know by now, Jim Searden. He'll be there. Join us in this special commemoration. Doors open at 8:30 in the morning. Breakfast at 9. USO show to follow. Tickets are free. No reason you can't be there, and can be picked up at the front desk. Friday Night Bingo, which is usually the last Friday of the month, is going to have a special one on Friday, November 17th. Doors, as usual, will open at 4 o'clock. Sales stop promptly at 6, and bingo starts at 6:30 p.m., the start of making your fortune, so please do come. History Comes Alive. You've probably heard of this beautiful series that we have here. The next one is Sunday, November 19th. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon is the start. Doors will open about 1:30. It's going to feature personal encounters with the little tramp, Charlie Chaplin, and America's sweetheart, Mary Pickford. Not them, of course, but a stylist, a British-born Ventura County author and longtime New York Times syndicated columnist, Ivor Davis. He'll reveal the behind-the-scenes personal stories about his unique experiences with these Hollywood legends. You are welcome to come and really enjoy this unusual presentation. Next, the Holiday Craft Bazaar is on Saturday, December 2nd, 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Get an early start in your holiday shopping. Come browse. Over 30 craft vendors offering high-quality, handcrafted gift items at the Global Adult Community Center's Indoor Craft Bazaar. So much for Patty's report. Now, Julie Spivak, she couldn't be here either. She's our newly appointed director of the Kanejo Senior Volunteer Program. So I'll present her report. First, the CSVP 2018 Wellness Fest annual event is set for January 17th, 2018, so mark your calendars. This event is focused on bringing to your attention all aspects of getting, and most importantly, staying well, including nutrition, medical care, services available to seniors, and much, much more. We do still have some openings available for interested sponsors who can pick up a packet in the CSVP office. Keeping in mind the deadline for registration is only a couple of weeks away, November 13th. You snooze, you lose, so come early. You want to help seniors fill out their income tax returns, federal and state? Even though I'm an attorney, I can't figure out my tax returns, and I need help, especially this year when Congress is planning to completely revise the current tax laws. We do have a program that provides free income tax preparation for qualified seniors from January to April 15th. You need not to have any accounting experience to be part of our team of dedicated volunteers in this IRS-sponsored program, but you should be able to be comfortable using a computer and be able to commit to being available at least one day a week during tax season. In addition to the tremendous satisfaction you will experience from helping senior citizens, you will receive a valuable side benefit of saving mucho dinero by filling out your own tax returns. I hope you were able to join us this morning for our inaugural breakfast at the Global Cafe. It's not exactly breakfast at Tiffany's. Audrey Hepburn won't be there. But we will be playing Moon River. And everything is $5 and under, including items such as breakfast burritos, fruit and yogurt parfait, egg sandwiches, blueberry pancakes, etc. Such a deal. Well, thank you, and I'll see you at the Global.
Great. Thank you very much, Commissioner Posta. Now we're going to the part of the meeting for Commissioner reports, and the first one on the agenda is a report on fraud, but Commissioner Hagee is not with us today, so we're going to go to a report on caregiving with Commissioner Fotheringham.
Hey, thank you. It's my pleasure to launch a new series of Commissioner reports on caregiving, and this will focus almost entirely on family caregivers, also known as unpaid caregivers or informal caregivers, and we'll further give some emphasis to those who are caregiving for people in later years of life and so forth, as opposed to those that are caring for children. So their definition we're going to be working with is a family caregiver is an unpaid individual, which could be a family member, a friend, or a neighbor, involved in assisting others with activities of daily living or medical tasks and so forth. To put this in perspective, in 2015, there were an estimated 35 million Americans engaged in family caregiving for someone who is at least 50 years of age. And this was nearly 8 times the 4.5 million Americans engaged in the most common paid occupation, which was retail salesperson. In 2007, the economic value of family caregiving was estimated to be $375 billion. And this was about 87% as much as the total expenditures for Medicare in that year. The average duration of caregiver's role is 4 years, although 15% are in the caregiving role for 10 or more years. And this is likely to increase in the future, particularly in Ventura County, where Alzheimer's is a very common ailment towards the end of life and so forth, and tends to be very longevous. Well, why do we do it? There are several reasons that caregivers give for taking on a task that for which they're not paid and can be at times fairly stressful. One of which is that they're giving back to someone who has cared for them. They may also get some satisfaction in knowing that a loved one is getting the best quality care. And it also adds purpose in life. We often hear people who've lost someone they've been caring for saying, "I've lost my purpose. I'm sort of feeling adrift now that I don't have the loved one to care for." The other reason that's often given is that we serve as a role model for our children who may be responsible for our care someday. And so we're setting ourselves up for switching roles at one point. Family caregiving is not without some risks. One, it can be physically demanding, especially if the care recipient is not ambulatory and there's a fair amount of lifting involved. It's often emotionally demanding, particularly as we watch a loved one fail. This is even worse and so forth. The dementia's involved, and we get to the point where the loved person we're caring for doesn't recognize us anywhere for what we remember ourselves to be. It's often isolating. We tend to give up other social activities and so forth to be available to the person we're caring for. And it may require continuous focus, that it's a 24/7 type of job and so forth. We're always on call. Well, in subsequent Council on Aging meetings and so forth, we'll talk a little bit about what are the skills required for being a caregiver and what are some resources available in our community that can help with these skills and help with the task at hand. So it's been my pleasure to launch this.
Great, really important information. Thank you, Commissioner Fotheringham. Let's go on now to the next item on the agenda, which is a report on safety and emergency preparedness by Commissioner Getz.
Thank you, Karen. Last month I talked a little bit about general emergency preparedness. This month I want to talk about fire emergency preparedness. Can we go to the next slide, please, Francine? I'm sure that all of you know about the tragic fires that occurred in Northern California. The Tubbs Fire in Santa Rosa destroyed over 5,000 structures. And Santa Rosa is a city of about 175,000 people. We have about 130,000 people here in Los Angeles. And they were in what they considered to be a safe zone. They were on the other side of the 101 freeway, and there wasn't any real preparation for fires other than normal fire preparation. But the windstorms that occurred there were unbelievable, and we all know the results. So could it happen here? Well, shouldn't happen here, but who knows? Can we go to the next slide, please? This is a map that you can't read, but it's a map of the Kaneo Valley. The 23 freeway runs up the center there. And all those red areas are areas that the fire department believes are high hazard severity zones for fire. Now, a lot of that is open space, but a lot of us live up next to the open space. But if the winds come up like they did in the Santa Rosa fire, all that gray area in the center is also subject to possible fires, because we had 50 mile an hour winds, 60 mile an hour winds in those areas. And from some of the pictures that you saw, you couldn't see anything. The embers were all over the place, and they got into a lot of people's homes that never had a concern for risk of fire. We go to the next slide. So, yes, many of the homes here back up to open space, but if the winds pick up, it could be much worse than just the homes near the open space. And if a firestorm occurs here, the fire department may be overwhelmed, and the quick response that we normally get may not occur. There are three major things that I think you should do before a firestorm hits. One, make an family emergency communications plan. 2, prepare your home. And 3, know what to do to escape if needed. Let's go on to the next slide. I talked about this last month. Your family may not be together when a disaster strikes, and how will you contact one another, and how will you get back together? You need to identify at least one out-of-town contact and make sure that all your family members have their phone numbers on their cell phones. And if you have a cell phone, put the numbers on your home page as an ICE or in case of emergency number, so that anybody that opens up your cell phone without your password can see it. Next slide says that be sure to tell your emergency contact that you've listed them, so if they start getting phone calls, they'll know. And teach your family members how to text if they have a cell phone, because text messages can often get through on the network when phone calls can't, when it gets overloaded. If you live near an open space, you need to create a defensible space by removing all dry grass, brush, and dead leaves at least 100 feet away from your home. And if you have the opportunity, plant ornamental landscaping plants that are fire resistant. On your roofs, you need to clean pine needles and leaves and other debris on the roof, and then clean out your gutters. Remove any dead branches overhanging your roof. And remove any tree branches within 10 feet of your chimney. That's not a firestorm danger. That's a danger of your embers from your fireplace setting nearby landscape on fire. And then cover your chimney, outlet, and stovepipe with a non-flammable screen of at least a half-inch or smaller mesh. If you have tall trees greater than 18 feet, they should be pruned to keep the ground fires from spreading to the treetops by pruning the lower branches within 6 feet of the ground. If you have firewood piles and scrap wood around your house, move it at least 30 feet away from your structures. Clear flammable vegetation that is within 10 feet of these wood piles. Locate any gas tanks, liquid petroleum gas tanks that you have, butane, propane, and move your barbecue away from your house, because in a firestorm it could explode and set the rest of your house on fire. And then prepare a list of valuables to take with you in case of an evacuation, and if possible, store these where it's easy to get at so that it'll save time in getting out. If you're told by authorities to get out, listen to them. That can be the hardest thing to do, because you think it's not going to happen here, and maybe your garden hose will protect you. But if they think it's dangerous, you really need to get out. You need to know, if possible, 2 ways to get out of every room in your house. Now, on the second floor, that may not be possible, but if it's possible, you ought to think about that. If you're trying to get out, feel the doors with the back of your hand for heat before opening them. Open doors slowly and be ready to close them if heat or fire is outside. If there's a lot of smoke, crawl under it as low as you can get. And once outside, don't go back for any reason. So in summary, you need to have an emergency contact plan, you need to prepare your home, you need to have an escape plan, and listen to the authorities, evacuate if told to do so. Thank you, Karen.
Wow. Really, really good, important information. Thank you very much, Commissioner Getz. And now we're going to go on to Liaison Reports. And the first one is with the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging. And I'm going to deliver that report. Last month, I showed you their new revised website, which is vcaaa.org, and I really want you to take a look at that. They have important information on there for everybody. But there's one program I'd like to tell you about today that's operated by VC AAA that not a lot of people know about, and it's a terrific program, so I want to be sure that you all know about it. It's called the Senior Community Service Employment Program. It's funded by the U.S. Department of Labor, and it focuses on the needs of mature workers, the community, and employers. This program prepares eligible mature workers for unsubsidized jobs through training at community-based organizations. The eligible worker will receive a stipend while he or she is in training, with the goal of getting unsubsidized employment. This is for individuals, this program, 55 and better, and individuals who are unemployed and need further training to perform jobs available in their communities, and also those individuals who meet the low-income requirements. Now, many, many years ago, I was in a position in which I was able to hire someone through this program to work at the school I was at the time, and all I can tell you is it was a terrific experience, both for the individual I was able to hire and for the students. And it was a learning experience at both ends. And I would encourage anyone who is interested in something like this for retraining to get in touch with the following individual at VC AAA. Her name is Maria Lopez, Lopez, telephone number 805-654 5239, 805-654-5239. Again, the name of the program is the Senior Community Service Employment Program, and I hope you'll take advantage of this. And if you give her a call, let us know. Let us know how it turns out. Okay? Thank you very much. We are now at the point in the agenda for commissioner comments, and I'd like to ask the commissioners if there's anything they would like to comment on. Okay, and then let's go on to our guest speaker today, and for that part of the program, I would like to introduce Commissioner Mortimer.
Betty Berry, Senior Advocate for Senior Concerns, has advocated for seniors since 1993. She has served on the Area Agency on Aging's Advisory Council as a member and chair, has been a member of the Financial Abuse Strategic Team, and currently serves on the Kanejo Senior Volunteer Program Advisory Board. She also authors the Senior Advocate column that appears in the Ventura County Star every Wednesday. Betty completed her undergraduate degree at California Lutheran University and earned her Juris Doctorate degree at Ventura College of Law. Please welcome Betty Berry.
Thank you. Not on. There you go. Okay. Thank you for having me today, and I'm here today to talk about the subject that I always talk about when I come here. This is open enrollment for Medicare. I'm going to go over a few things today that I hope people do know, but we can certainly cover it again. There are things about Medicare that people have had for years and don't understand, and so I hope that we can clear it up a little. The people are on Medicare in many, many different ways, and they don't really know exactly what they have. We have some seniors who are brand new to Medicare and just learning. And it's kind of nice to work with the brand new people because it's a clean slate and you can really, move it around. We have people who have a senior advantage plan, which is a choice that you have when you join Medicare. We have people who have plain old Medicare with nothing else. We have Medicare people with a Medigap policy. We have Medicare people with a retiree supplement.
We have people only with Medicare. We have people who never take a pill, so they never signed up for Medicare Part D. And I don't know that I've missed anybody. I think I've covered every combination you can have. But each one of these have different rules. And so it's just not that you are a Medicare patient. You have a Medicare patient, and depending upon what you've done with your Medicare, your rules can change. However, open enrollment period, which is October 15th through December 7th, is the time that you can change what you have if you're not happy with what you had in the current year. So, I'm going to go down the list, which I plan to cover, maybe not in this order, but why are we having this meeting today? Then what are the parts of Medicare? What is the open enrollment period and why? Why supplemental Medigap insurance is not part of this open enrollment period? What are these one-stop shops that you hear about? Senior Advantage plans for 2018, have they changed? Part D prescription drug plans for 2018, have they changed? Filling out a Part D comparison request form if you want help with getting your prescription. Letters that you may be receiving from insurance companies or Medicare itself, and I'm sure you've all had lots of stuff in your mailbox lately that you really don't understand maybe. Medicare changes themselves for 2018. Social Security changes for 2018. Other new changes that are going to come up this year, new Medicare cards are going to be in the mail. And Anthem Blue, who has now pulled out of covered California. In addition to that, I always talk about my favorite subject, Medicare and You 2018. This is a book we get each year, and I usually say to an audience, if you've gotten this book, please raise your hand. Oh, every hand in the audience goes up. Now, keep your hand up if you've read the book. All hands go down. There are many, many things in this book that are very, very interesting. There are some things in the book that if you read it, you might have some questions, and then I'd be glad to have you come into my office and answer those. So since there's nothing good on television on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday except the Dodger game, maybe you want to start reading Medicare and You. First, why are we having this meeting? Well, this is the time of year, as I just mentioned, October 15th to December 7th, when you can make changes to what you have. Many people don't really realize that, in July or August, if they're not happy with what they have, well, I'll just change it. You can't do that. What you get is for the year, and you are stuck with it with a few exceptional things. We don't have all the fine details yet because Medicare works a little slowly at times, but you don't need them at this point in time to start planning for 2018. To make sure you're covered the way you want to be for 2018 and understand that you can't change unless there is a move or loss, you need to take action, or at least see if you need to take action. There are many people who don't need to change each year, and there are other people that do have to change. And you'll probably get things in the mail to tell you one way or the other. During this time, Medicare beneficiaries mostly are interested in changing the basic plans for Medicare Part D, which is prescription drug coverage. You can also change from original Medicare to a Senior Advantage plan. You can change from a Senior Advantage plan back to original Medicare. You can change from one Senior Advantage plan to another Senior Advantage plan. And of course, you can change your Part D plan, and that's the one that changes the most. The changes will be made for the coming year 2018, and that will be your coverage for the entire year. Exceptions will be made if you're receiving low-income subsidies, or if you move out of the area where your plan is. And if that happens, you should seek counseling either through the Area Agency on Aging HICAP people or come in and see the senior advocate. Now, many people have Medicare with a Medigap supplemental policy. And many people feel, since this is an open enrollment period, that, oh, well, I'll just change that policy too if I'm not happy with it. Purchasing and changing your Medigap policy has its own rules and regulations. Have you ever had anything that the government's involved that doesn't have its own rules and regulations? There are times when you can change your Medigap policy with no underwriting, that is, questions about your health. These are called guaranteed right periods. When you first sign up for Medicare Part B, if your plan goes away, you can get another one. If you're in your birthday month, you can buy a new Medigap policy. So let's say that you're sailing along and you're not too happy with policy ABC. When you hit your birthday month, starting with your birthday and the following 30 days, you can change that policy to any other company or any other policy in the company you're in, which is equal to or less than you have, with no underwriting. So let's say you've had your policy for 5 or 6 years, and over those 5 or 6 years, as we get older, we have little things happen with us. You have some health problems. During that period of time, you can change your policy and they cannot deny you for health reasons. So it's very important to know when to change it. I'm not saying you can't change it anytime you want. You can, but you could be denied coverage because of health reasons, okay? Other than the guaranteed right periods, change your plan anytime. Open enrollment is not a guaranteed right period. This is one part of Medicare coverage that is not in there. So if you don't do it during this period, you'll have to go through writing. Whenever changing, however, any kind of change in insurance, whenever changing, do not give up what you have until you are sure the new coverage is in effect. There's nothing worse than being without proper coverage. Okay? Now, I don't know if you've heard of these, but they've been in the paper. I've had them in my column. What are these one-stop shops that we keep hearing about? Well, the Area Agency on Aging's HICAP program runs these one-stop shops. And for weeks during open enrollment, there are so many seniors that need counseling that they discontinue individual appointments with counselors, and they have what they call a one-stop shop. In this one-stop shop, they have 5, 6, sometimes 10 counselors available, and you come in and you can sit with a counselor. Although you're in a big room, you are counseled separately, not as a group, and they can help you make your decisions for the next year. If you want to do that, then I have some forms with me today that you can fill out and send in to them. They will then make an appointment for you at some of the a one-stop shop, and you will get counseling free of charge. It is an ideal way to go. There are 2 more one-stop shops to be held during this open enrollment period here in Thousand Oaks. Monday, November 6th, and Wednesday, November 20th. Both of those one-stop shops will be at the Global Senior Adult Center. Also, if you can't make those dates, there are 2 one-stop shops scheduled in our neighbor, Hmo Valley. One on Tuesday, November 7th, and one on Tuesday, November 28th. So if you want to use that opportunity to find the information you need and to make a change, that would be an excellent way to go. Now, you've heard me mention Senior Advantage plans. I'm sure you have all heard of Kaiser, SCAM, Humana, Blue Cross, These are plans that you can choose instead of taking straight Medicare. And many people do not realize that they have that ability. So when you first sign up for Medicare, you must sign up for Part A, hospital, Part B, doctors. And then there's something on the schedule that says Medicare Part C, and nobody knows what Part C is. Part C are Senior Advantage plans, and they are there for you to use in place of straight Medicare. The HMO plans in Ventura for 2018 are Humana Gold, Blue Shield, Central Health Ventura, Kaiser, Scan, and AARP Secure Horizons. Those are all Senior Advantage plans. Also, there's an Anthem Blue Plus, but there's questions on Anthem Blue at this point about what they're going to cover and what they aren't going to cover for 2018. If you sign up for one of these plans, that is your entire plan. You don't need a secondary plan to go with it, and you do not need a separate Part D plan. Word of caution, if you have an HMO plan and you're not happy with the prescription drug coverage that comes with that plan, do not, I repeat, do not try to buy a separate Part D plan. Because if you do, you just disenrolled yourself from your Senior Advantage plan, okay? Now, the biggest reason for these one-stop shops and the biggest reason for this open enrollment really is Part D, the prescription drug coverage plans. And you should review your coverage for prescription drugs every open enrollment period. Why, you ask? Well, the insurance companies come and they go. So you may have a plan with a company that's taken a vacation. So you're going to have to make a change. Formularies on these plans change. And tell me, they change during the year also, but every year they come around with a new formulary. So you have to make sure that the drugs you're taking are on that plan. Unfortunately, premiums change, and most times it's that they go up, not down, though this year I did see a few that went down. The cost of the drugs change, and most important, we all change. Something happens to us during a year, and now we need a new drug, or we don't need a drug that we had before. So this is so much more volatile than just being covered for Medicare for insurance for medical purposes. The prescription drug plan, I've had very, very few people over the number of years I've been doing this that don't have some kind of change that they should make. So either you should do the computer work yourself, and many seniors don't want to do that, or you can have HICAP do it for you, or if you come to the advocate's office, we do have 3 insurance agents who handle everything for Medicare. They will do it for you. From the computer comparison, then you can determine which is the best coverage for you for the lowest price. Currently, not all information on file is complete. They're still doing things. So while you can or have us run the comparisons, you'll need to check with the companies afterwards to make sure. But this should all be cleared by the end of December 7th. This year, just to give you an idea, there are 12 different insurance companies offering 24 different individual plans to check from. That's a lot of stuff to look at. So give it a thought. Maybe you want HICAP to do it. If you do, I can give you the forms to get you started. If you want to come to the advocate's office, I can talk to you a little bit about it and then give you the names of several insurance agencies who handle that. And if you need help with the form, I can also help you with that. It's not a complicated form, but it's important. Now, over the years, I've always, every year, had somebody say to me, I don't need a Part D plan. I don't take any drugs. Yes, you do need a Part D plan even if you don't take any drugs, because if you don't buy it now, when you do come to buy it, you're going to get a penalty added to the price. They want you now. I guess they want your money now, but buy it now or pay more later. So what I usually do with people who take no drugs is we look to see which are the least expensive plans for premiums and sign them up with one of those. I looked down the list the other day, and Aetna has a plan for $19.70 a month, but it does have a deductible, which meant if you're not taking any drugs, you would pay $19.70 a month, but then come May, you get the flu. Now you need an antibiotic, you have a deductible, you would have to pay full for that drug. Well, we also have Express, who has a plan that costs $22.80 a month, but no deductible. So if you purchase that one, you would pay your $22.80 a month, and if you got the flu in May, then you're covered because there is no deductible. So these are the things that we can point out to you to help you cover your needs. Okay, we're going to skip the form unless somebody gets one later and we have to talk about it. But if you do the one for the Area Agency on Aging High Cap, we'll do the form, send it into them. They will call you back and make an appointment for a one-stop shop. And then you go to that shop. They will have printed out all the information on the drugs that you need, and you'll be in good shape. Okay, let's see what else I have here. I have enough paper here for the whole school, I think. Okay, has anybody gotten any extra mail in the mailbox lately from any of these companies? This is the time of year. And I have people come in with an envelope full. They don't know what they have. From time to time, you will receive letters from different government agencies or insurers who are covering you for Medigap Policies Part D. At times, you need to take some action. At others, just it's information. I can't stress enough that please do not just take that envelope and toss it in the trash. I'd like you to at least open it and read the first paragraph or two to see, is this an ad selling something that you really don't need, or is this telling you about something that you qualify for and that you need to know, maybe not do anything but need to know, or maybe you have to take some action. Also, please don't just take that envelope and toss it in the trash. There are numbers in there. There's your name, your address, all kinds of things. Please shred it before you throw it away. All very important. But reading it first might not make sense, but you can usually tell if it's just an ad or not. Now, many people say, well, I don't read them unless they're from the company that I have. Well, that may not be too good either. So it's really best to understand everything that comes in the mail. My insurance, just to fill you in on a different way it goes, my insurance comes from a previous employer. And so when I get letters from them, this is important. These are your benefits that you retired with. What's going on? I worked for AT&T for 36 years, and so my insurance is covered by them. And for years, I've been on Medicare, and I've had a wonderful Medicare supplement that goes with it. Guess what? They decided to change that supplement to a PPO. Okay, this changes a lot of things for me. So it was really very important that I read that. And I have had several people come in from other large companies who are changing their drug plans. Things that can happen in Medicare that may change. I can tell you that for those drug plans that have a deductible, The deductible goes up this year by $5, no big thing. As far as Medicare Part B itself, we're not sure what next year's premium is going to be. This year, new people joining pay $134 a month, provided that a single person doesn't make more than $85,000 a year, or a married person $170,000 a year. But that premium may or may not go up this year because, as I think most of you have heard, Social Security is going to give us all a raise this year. I understand it's going to be 2.2%. Okay, so when they give us a raise, it could mean that they're going to also raise the premium. So keep in mind, keep watching for a letter from Social Security that tells you these kinds of things. Quite often in years past, Medicare has increased the size of the deductible for Medicare Part A, which is hospitalization. They have not told us yet if it will go up. It may. Medicare Part B also has a deductible. They haven't told us if that will go up yet or not. That usually does go up. Maybe it's $5 more or so on. But the premium itself is the one that will affect whether your Medicare Part B premium goes up. They're a little slow in telling us that. Okay, the new issue of Medicare and You is out. This is my favorite reading material. It's a very good issue. I do ask that you do read it. It will help you quite a bit. Now, one thing that's going to happen in 2018 and 19 is we are going to get new Medicare cards. As you all know, your number on your Medicare card is your Social Security number. And I have been saying for years, do not carry that card with you. You don't want your Social Security number in your wallet in case your wallet is stolen. And I have suggested many ways of doing that. One, I don't carry my card. I figure if I get hit by a car and taken to the hospital, they know I have Medicare. The color of my hair will tell them that. But they will take care of me and the cards can come in later. If you're nervous about not carrying the card, then my suggestion is that you take a small piece of paper, white paper, cut it, lay it over that Social Security number, Xerox the card, carry the card without the number. You all know your number if somebody asks you what it is. That way, if your wallet is stolen, your Social Security number is not there. It has been discussed for a long time that they shouldn't be using our Social Security number there, and they have finally come along, and I understand it is a horrendous job to change all these cards, but they will start, and the new number will not be your Social Security number, and instead of being, 9 numbers, it will be 11 numbers long. I see a problem there that if you don't have your card with you and you need it, none of us are going to memorize this new number like we memorize our Social Security number. But that will be the new number, and not everybody is going to get their card at the same time. My understanding is that it will start being replaced in New England first. Now, people can kind of say, why New England? Why do they go there? Well, the first 3 numbers on your Social Security card will tell you where you were issued that card. And the numbers starting with 0 are in New England. So I guess they're going to start with that and work their way through. So I can see an opportunity here for frauds and scams. Your neighbor gets her card, and you say, well, I didn't get my card. Oh, but all of a sudden you get a call that says, have you gotten your new card yet? No. Well, if you give us this information, we can help you get your card sooner. There shouldn't be any calls like that. Medicare isn't going to call you. Social Security isn't going to call you. So if you get a call about those new cards and that we can help you get it, maybe even for a price, but give us this information. It is a fraud and a scam, so don't fall for it. I think there will be a lot of fraud out there in the year to come. And basically, that's what I have to tell you today, unless you have some questions, which I understand come after we close the meeting.
Okay, well, thank you, Betty. Very, very informative. Can you, and we can have questions from the podium now. Can you just remind everyone what the acronym HICAP stands for?
Oh, okay. We call it HICAP because its true name is Health Insurance Counseling Advocacy Program. And in order to say that, it would take forever, so we just call it HICAP.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the podium? Thank you, Commissioner Fotheringham.
If you've watched any television at all recently, you've seen commercials for Medicare Advantage plans, and these commercials suggest that what I can obtain in a way of a plan is all the benefits of ordinary Medicare plus the supplement plus Part D plus dental and vision and hearing aid, and I might even get it for $0 premium. What's wrong with this picture?
Well, what's wrong with it is there are some things in there that are true. But I see wrong with it is, number one, you don't have the freedom to use it everywhere in the United States, only where that company is in existence. Two, you must use the doctors who are associated with that plan, so you don't have free choice of doctors. To me, that is the most important. But also you get eyes, ears, teeth and what have you. That's usually at an extra little premium, not a high one, but it's there. But again, it's with their doctors and so forth. When I'm counseling on this, I always talk about this plan because it might be less expensive for the person for a while, but all of these plans also have what they call copays. So you might not have to pay an extra premium. You're still paying your Medicare Part B plan, but you don't have an extra premium for this. But if you go to the doctor a lot, those copays do add up. And so if you're really fairly unhealthy, it probably isn't any less expensive and maybe more so. And to me, the choice of having the doctors that you want is very important. That answer your question?
Yes.
But you do get a lot of those in the mail, and you get them on television all the time, yes.
Okay, Commissioner Posta.
Yes, I have an Anthem, Medigap, I guess it is, in addition to Medicare. And I understand they're getting out of the state.
Okay.
But they said something to the effect that not completely or partially or everything. A two-part question. Actually, when are they leaving? And it doesn't matter when they're leaving. When do I have to change and get a new plan? And do my plans overlap, or should they overlap?
You don't have to worry at all. Anthem Blue is leaving on the 31st of December, but not having anything to do with Medicare. They're leaving the California covered insurance for people under 65. I knew that I was going to get that question today, so before I left, I made a phone call. And no, your Medigap policies that are Anthem Blue are still good. And in the paper the other night, there was an article on this, and those who are under covered California will be losing it, and they won't be able to go to Los Robles anymore or anything like that. They do have to replace it for next year. And I heard about this about 6 weeks ago because a client came in under 65 and said, I'm going to lose Anthem Blue. What do I do? Well, she's not going to be 65 until April, so she can't apply for Medicare until April. So we have to get her a new policy for January through March 31st. You're on the Council for Aging.
Thank you very much.
Also, I don't know if many people know this. Covered California cannot be had by a person over age 65. If you are not legally in this country, or if you are over 65, or if you are currently in jail, you cannot have Covered California.
Thank you very much.
Do we have other questions from the podium?
One more.
Okay, Commissioner Fotheringham.
I think I remember from your talks in previous years that one of the reasons why some of these companies that offer the supplemental plans and the advantage plans and so forth come and go is that Medicare imposes certain requirements on them in terms of the number of doctors or number of specialties that must be covered in a particular region in order to offer a plan there. Could you elaborate on what those rules are?
It's the Senior Advantage plans, and to have the Senior Advantage plan replaces Medicare. And I have scared people spitless in the office when I say, you no longer have Medicare. What do you mean I no longer have Medicare? The Senior Advantage plan is a choice of taking straight Medicare, which you really need another policy to go with to cover everything, and a Part D plan, to having the Senior Advantage plan that covers everything. Yes, those plans are told they must meet certain Medicare qualifications. They must give as much coverage as Medicare. They can make a few little additions or subtractions here and there, but basically what you get from them is the same. The biggest problem is it's their doctors. And all of the Senior Advantage plans in Ventura County are HMOs, not PPOs. If you live in Los Angeles County, you might be able to get a Senior Advantage plan that is a PPO. But they are really regulated as to what they can and can't do.
Any other questions from the podium?
Easy day.
I'll turn it back over to Commissioner Mortimer.
I don't have a question. I just want to say that I'm not old enough for Medicare yet. I'm hoping by the time I am, things will be a whole lot easier. But thank you for all the information. There's so much to know about it.
It's an interesting field, and it changes continually. Not only do the companies change, but in the job I'm in, every client that comes in is different. And so Charna and I, who are in the office, it's a challenge every day. We could get 30 phone calls with the same question, but the client is different, so the answer has to be different.
Thank you very much,
You're
Betty.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Now, before we adjourn, we are going to reopen public comments with an announcement from Mike Hauser from Thousand Oaks Transit. Mr. Hauser.
The Dodgers are taking a little bit longer to win the World Series than I expected, so the rally beard has to stay on at least through the end of tonight. I wanted to update the Commission on the status of the Transit Master Plan, which is a comprehensive program that we've been working on for close to 3 years now, which is going to be presented to Council here this month at their November 28th meeting. Just a reminder for the Commission, Thousand Oaks Transit is more than just local bus and dial-a-ride service. In addition to the local services, we also operate a number of services for various agencies, and we take a very regional approach to transportation delivery. We began a process back about 2.5 years ago by the hiring of a consultant to review how it is we deliver services, where we're doing a good job, where our weaknesses are, and what we should be looking towards the future in terms of service offerings. By numbers, we are what would be considered a very small transit service, not only to our peers, but also within the county. We are the fourth largest transit service. But over the last 8 years, we have seen tremendous growth locally. For example, that shows 52 vehicles and approximately 85 staff. 6 years ago, that was approximately 20 vehicles and about 30 staff. So we've seen a lot of growth in the last few years as we've added services like the Metrolink shuttle, Saturday bus service, and taken on some of these other services. By ridership, again, our bus ridership, we're about 156,000. That compares to several million on the Gold Coast Transit District area, which is the area that's served by services Oxnard, Ventura, Ojai, and Port Hueneme. However, our dial-a-ride service, quite a bit different. We are a very dial-a-ride heavy dependent agency, and we do the most senior and disabled specific dial-a-ride service of any agency outside of Gold Coast. What were some of the issues that developed through the process of investigating? Well, high demand for dial-a-ride service. Our bus service leaves a lot to be desired, frankly, particularly for a city of this size. The way the city is designed and the type of housing and type of industry and businesses we have, it makes it very difficult to get an integrated transit system in place. So the plan is going to help us develop our short and long range goals, and it has reviewed our policies and procedures. And so here's what we hope to be the outcome of this process that we're going to ask Council to help us along and approve some changes. More frequent bus service to more locations, shorter bus routes. And rather than having to ride a bus route all the way through and doing a loop, we're going to offer bi-directional service on most routes. We can't do them on all. We're going to do it on most routes. And we're going to also expand the sheer number of routes that we offer. We're going to make some improvements to the dial-a-ride service. We're actively working to implement automated phone calls back to those who have rides as both the reminders and also on the occasions when we are unavoidably delayed, we'll let you know so that you don't have to stand outside and wait. And we're also going to roll out some new technologies that should improve the riding experience and also help us contain cost. As I'm sure many of you are aware, the fares that people pay for the services only pay for a small fraction of the total cost. In case of dial-a-ride, it's about 10 cents on the dollar. So one of the other things that we looked about, there's been some discussion about trolley services along the boulevard. We don't find that at this time a trolley is probably in our overall best interest in terms of a service delivery. But what we are going to do is to work on express service along Thousand Oaks Boulevard to cut that travel time down from on the particular route from anywhere from 65 to 90 minutes down to 30 minutes in each direction. We are also in discussions with several companies about the possibility of small semi-autonomous trams along Thousand Oaks Boulevard, and we're in some preliminary discussions for that. We're also looking to see whether or not we can leverage some of the transportation network companies such as Uber and Lyft to see whether or not they can help supplement some of our services. So this is just a very brief overview of some of the things that we will be asking Council to recommend. You'll notice it does come with some upfront cost, mostly to acquire additional vehicles, and that is all covered with money that we already have. And then ongoing operating costs that we're probably going to increase our budget close to $1 million a year. Again, that is something that right now is funded and something that we'll be able to do. And we really don't, I would encourage anybody that wants to look at these routes. These are all available online at the city's website, but it does show our new 5-route system that we're proposing that would replace the existing 5-route system. And then eventually we would add another service up and down Moore Park Boulevard, connecting the Transportation Center and CLU to the Oaks Mall. And then lastly, a local connection between ourselves and Hmo Valley, perhaps also expanding that to Moore Park as well. So that's my very express presentation to keep us on time as close as possible. Would encourage that anybody that wants to view the master plan in a whole, it's almost a 300-page document. It is available at this web address, or it's a little bit easier to remember if you want. Just go to the Thousand Oaks Transit website. There is a link on there. And I thank you very much for your time, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hauser. Okay, our next televised meeting is going to be on Wednesday, December 6th. Our guest speaker at that time will be Robert Dempster, who's a genealogist, and will talk to us about the myths and legends regarding Thanksgiving and the Mayflower story. We hope that you will join us here at the Thousand Oaks Civic Arts Plaza. And just as a reminder, you can catch all of our televised meetings online at TOTV, where they are archived for quite a long time. So if there's anything you missed and you'd like to look it up, please check that out. And thank you very much. Our meeting is now adjourned.